Hello everyone, it's me Pavlo, and you have two-in-one opportunity now. First, to get your daily dose of Ukrainian accent, and second, to learn about this beauty. Just check out how this box looks, and it's earphones made by company EPZ or EPZ like some call them, model named K9. You probably already read the model name on the box. And it's their attempt to go in the more expensive segment. Their price is $280, and it's a 9-driver hybrid with 1 dynamic driver and 8 balanced armatures. Previous reviews of company gear showed that they definitely could tweak the earphones pretty well, and I have a really high expectations for this model, so let's check it out. That's definitely the most beautiful box that I and many of you have ever seen. These interesting swirls of different colors and glitter looks pretty attractive in real life. And on the back side you can find some technical specifications and approximately frequency response chart. And inside there is a nice cardboard box, actually pretty pleasant in terms of texture. It opens this way. You'll get earpieces themselves, then pretty unusual but nice storage box. It comes with cable and replaceable connectors here, so it's good to see that it's a almost must-have option nowadays. And here we have accessories box, but most likely accessories will be different tips. And yeah, here they are, and actually it's pretty nice tips, transparent clear silicone and white silicone, so those transparent are sticky for those who need better grip and feel, and those are really soft and comfortable. So as you can see, accessory set is really good here. Look of the box and overall presentation really set expectations pretty high, but the design of earpieces definitely not disappoint too. First of all, pretty interesting move with this butterfly wings on the faceplate. So faceplates are made of metal, and underneath you can see this interesting glittery surface that definitely attracts attention and looks great. Polished metal parts gather a little bit of fingerprints, but I think it's kind of okay. And inner part is probably the best thing here, because it's made of transparent plastic, and most likely it's resin, and I always like to see the internals of the earpiece, especially when it's sophisticated. I like to see and admire tuning attempts made by the creators. Overall shape is pretty ergonomic, and they fitting nicely into ears. Despite of using a lot of drivers, they are pretty compact, and probably every single audiophile already has ears that are accustomed to this shape. Many of us have that small tentacles to hold earpieces better in ear. Of course, I'm joking, but let's see what we have inside. First of all, really a lot of drivers. As it's promised, we can count them, and they all are here. And as it's commonly seen nowadays, crossover PCB is hidden beneath the faceplate, so it doesn't interfere with the acoustic chamber inside. But what is interesting here is the dynamic driver. So you can see that balanced armatures are grouped into groups. Both have some acoustic impedance filters inside, so they are located on the different lengths. So definitely spend some time tuning here too. But dynamic driver, first of all, here is a vent hole on the rear side of the driver, And from the front side of the driver, you can see one small tube goes here to the spout, and it's a bass conducting tube. And actually, it has a T-split, and the part of this tube goes to the inner chamber inside of the earpiece, so it's some interesting acoustic treatment for the dynamic driver here also in place. Spouts have average length, and actually sound isolation is also on the average level. There is no lip for holding the tips, unfortunately, but spout extends just a little bit to the end, probably to provide a bit better tips holding. But so far they hold really well anyway, at least for me. So we'll see how it will be after some time. Cables are made replaceable, and I must admit that cable is also on par with all this gorgeous level here. So here used 2-pin connectors without anything like recessed pins or something like that. There are ear hooks that provide the necessary guidance around your ear. And the cable came in fabric insulation, but unlike many other similar cables, it's pleasantly soft, maybe not super soft, but on the softer side of things. And the microphonic effect is pretty low, so cable is pretty comfortable in daily usage, at least for me. And this fabric insulation promise pretty good longevity. After the splitter, it goes in 4 separate wires down to this 90 degrees connector. So it's replaceable. You can unscrew this part and disconnect it. It requires a good gripping force, and as usual you can replace it. Just pay attention at the notch and the groove to match it properly, and then you can reattach it back. So not easy to do that looking through the camera. So, and then screw this ring back and it's secured. And actually it has a pretty low profile and doesn't stick out of socket really fast. So I can say that cable is on par with everything else, and in my opinion it's a great level. What could be better than great looking earphones with a premium presentation? Only great looking earphones with a great sound. And luckily for everyone, EPZ K9 delivers a really nice balanced tuning that is pretty universal. Probably they are leaning a bit towards musical representation because they are pretty comfortable in terms of sound, but they are also really good in terms of technicalities, which is unsurprising, probably considering the amount of drivers. But let's talk about the sound step by step. Bass goes to maximum depth, it's well controlled, and luckily to me, and maybe unluckily for someone else, main accent is made on the mid bass. And this accent is not huge. It's sufficient to give a necessary weight to overall representation, but low frequencies are not dominating here. And the deeper layers of bass are nicely controlled, but they stay on their place. So don't expect like super punchy bass and mega powerful rumble, but in my opinion that's not a way to the natural sound. And here we have accent on mid bass, which highlights instruments a little bit, but not too much. They don't have maximum amount of small nuances and details in low frequencies, but they maintain good balance between the speed and weight, so texture representation is pretty nice. Also, despite of using that many drivers, earphones are pretty coherent, so bass transitions to mids pretty smoothly with matched amount of weight for the balanced armature and bass. You don't get that common situation when bass giving additional weight to mid frequencies. It's not a case here, so meaning that Mid frequencies remain clean and clear, but of course we'll talk about them after examples for the low frequencies. First one is Navras by Juno Reactor. Probably everyone heard this track, or a lot of people my age, because it was crazy popular because of that Matrix and Animatrix, and it has great epic introduction with chorus and a nice bass line and a lot of interesting samples and 3D effects. And the bass line is represented really well. It's not dominating, but at the same time has a good weight. At least, by my taste, and everything I am telling is just my taste here. And Billie Jean by Michael Jackson, one of the most famous bass lines in the history of music, and nice percussions, all that gives that sense of groove, and this earphones delivers it really well, and building pleasant contrast between groovy meaty bass and nice mid frequencies. And mid frequencies is the strongest part of these earphones. It's really beautifully balanced, probably because of the amount of drivers they've used. Mid frequencies shows good technicalities, surprising amount of small nuances, but at the same time they are not sterile or monitoring, not focused on that small nuances. So it sounds really organic with great macro dynamics and emotion representation. But everything here really depends on the quality of material, because they're not trying to hide some issues. They don't highlight it, but at the same time don't hide. So it will make a lot of sense to try different remasters with these earphones and stuff like that. Imaginary stage is above average in width, really proper in terms of size, not too bloated and not diffuse. Depth is slightly smaller than width, but also built really nicely. All sound sources have proper positioning. Maybe it's not a 3D holographic positioning of top of the line earphones, but still stage is built in a pretty convincing way. Also, they have slight boost and at the upper mids, but to my ears not too much. But if you're sensitive to such things, maybe it can be a bit harsh for you, but definitely not for me. And that boost gives nice amount of sparkle and crispness to the vocal, and both instruments and vocal sounds really great with these earphones. And thanks to their nice performance in staging, they are also good when you need that sense of epicness. So what we've got here. So first track is Black Satin by Miles Davis, and it's definitely jazz representation of that busy street, as the name on the corner of album suggests, and you getting a lot of instruments and some special effects and many other things going on here, and you can definitely appreciate Miles Davis as one of the greatest innovators in the history of the music, and these earphones delivers this track with all that multiple instruments really nice. You can focus on every single instrument, but at the same time they sounding all together like in a really coherent way. And Mercyful Fate, Come to the Sabbath, and great tune, great vocal, pretty nice quality of record, not perfect maybe, but really decent, taking into account that period in time. And both vocal, guitars and other things sounds really nice, not dirty and not sloppy and not overly sharpened. Treble has slight boost at the lower treble, but then it's pretty well balanced without excessive energy or stuff like that. Extension is noticeably above average, not maximum, but pretty nice. Layering is basic, but for this price it's pretty decent. Layering that gives you nice sense of three dimensions in the room. If you getting some well-recorded live concerts, for example, or some well-mastered records like Jazz at the Pawn Shop, for example, and stuff like that. And also really good overtone saturation, not harsh, not forward, at least, to my ears by my scales. So instrument sounds really effortless and natural. And first example, it's Robert Len, Brasilia, really nice, airy music, well recorded, with superb overtones and instruments going really far in the high frequency area, and these earphones playing it really nice. Not at 100% probably, because you'll need much more expensive IEMs for this track, but really good for this price, actually excellent and really good overall. And I wanted to put this Ukrainian musician here, Ivan Tkalenko. He plays bandura, it's Ukrainian traditional instrument with very rich timbres. And Ivan Tkalenko was one of the pioneers of using bandura in the modern music. He is also inventor and music teacher. He had to invent all the ways to make bandura electric. He invented a stand for it, microphone system, and he uses interesting electronic post-production sampling. So from one hand, it's really saturated with treble nuances, timbre-rich instrument sounding perfectly with these earphones. And on the other hand, it's also pretty interesting arrangement. And from the first day of Russia's invasion, Ivan Tkalenko joined armed forces of Ukraine, so he is protecting Ukraine now. I hope he will return and to the peaceful life and to music, because I want more records of Ivan. In terms of pairings, these earphones are pretty responsive to the source, so I'd recommend to use at least a mid-segment player with them, and probably higher tier of dongle decks to show their full potential, and they have really good scalability with beta sources. Also, they are pretty responsive to the source, so you can make them warmer or more technical by varying different types of sources. And if you have a source that you really like in terms of signature, these earphones will be able to show its character, and you will be enjoying that signature. You will be hear that type of source in their sound. Speaking about the comparisons, two models came to my mind. First is DD Hi-Fi Surface. They are probably slightly more natural, with a bit less amount of micro contrast on the mid frequencies, and a bit less dynamics. So they are slightly more restrained, and they are not monitoring or neutral absolutely, but they are slightly closer to neutrality. And Fio's FH5S, quite of opposite. They are more firm, more punchy, and more focused on the fun sound. So, to summarize everything here, EPZ once again impressed me and showed that they can create beautiful and well-tuned earphones even in more expensive price categories. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and of course have a great day.